All right, here we are, Unit 4, the blended lesson plan. Now, we know that each district or department has a way that they want lesson plans to look. But because blended lessons are taking tried and true pedagogy and sort of transferring them into a modern format with modern components, think about this lesson plan template as a way to reflect, as a way to plan, as a way to think. We don't expect you to be able to just use this as your lesson plan template, but it is a great way to think about what it is you need to do to create really effective and powerful blended lessons. So here's Unit 4, and in Unit 4, you're going to see two things. You're going to see the blank template here, and you're also going to see a completed lesson at the bottom using this format. Here at the bottom, we put a blended learning lesson as optional. If you would like to get some feedback, you may complete one of these and go ahead and turn it in there at the bottom, and we'll get back to you and provide you with some feedback on it. But let me show you what is here and how this template is designed to work. If you click just here on make a copy of the template and you're logged into Google, you will be taken to this blank template and you'll have a copy to make and use for yourself. The top is pretty much standard lesson plan stuff. What unit are we in? What is the lesson or essential question? The progression, where does this lesson fit into the unit plan? And then on the right, we have objectives. You might use Common Core Standards or cognitive growth targets or a KUD or a combination, but we obviously need to have those things in any lesson plan format. Again, pretty standard. Here on the left in the second section, we have the learning activities, basically just describe what students and teachers are doing at each level of the lesson. And next to it, explain why. What is the purpose of this activity? Here's where we really have the blended learning component. This section here is basically a checklist. We have device. Do the students or the teacher use a device during this activity? Is there an opportunity for collaboration? Are students given any options? Is there an opportunity for the teacher to provide feedback? Is there an opportunity for students to work face-to-face with one another or with the teacher? And are there options for discovery, for inquiry? Now, you're not going to click every one of these boxes for every activity, but by checking off these boxes and looking at the lesson as a whole, what we can do is get an idea of whether or not we've actually achieved blended learning or not. Here at the bottom, we have assessment summary where you describe how you're going to measure the learning. Page 2, I have a blank spot for links and notes. I like to keep all my links in one spot, and as my lesson plans are implemented, sometimes I go back and reflect or take notes about things that work, and I always like to have a space for that. But perhaps the most important part of this template is the bottom. Reflect. When you write a lesson immediately or the next day maybe, take a look at it and ask yourself some questions and try and be honest with the answers. Were you clear? Did the students understand what you wanted them to do? Did you give them feedback before you assessed them? Were they able to practice very basically? And most importantly, did the students collaborate? Were they allowed to provide their opinions? Because this is what engages them in the learning. And that's so important. So take a moment at the end of the lesson and reflect. I completed one. It looks just like this. So I've got my lesson title, which has to do with logos and persuasion, ethos, pathos, and logos. This one's about logos, the final of the three. I use Common Core Standards, and they are linked just here on the right. You can read through it if you like, but I have my learning activities and why. I don't like X's. I like pretty purple boxes. So instead of X's or checks, I colored in the boxes purple. And I can see instantly by looking at this that my lesson plan could use some improvement because I have no options in this lesson for discovery. Maybe I had some in the previous lesson or previous unit, and maybe it's okay that I don't have them here, but it is something that I notice. There's also only 2 face-to-face opportunities. Maybe that could be increased or maybe it doesn't need to be, but we can visualize that. I've got my links, some notes. Look right there. This lesson does not incorporate discovery. I wrote that down. And at the bottom, I reflected on the things that I did well and the things that I need to improve on. This lesson template is not perfect, but what it does is allow you to think and reflect about how we're taking content that we're used to teaching in ways that we're used to teaching it and bringing it into the 21st century to engage students, make them curious, and teach them how to learn in the modern world. Good luck.